Hi folks, Mr. P again. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about measure and we're going to take it a little bit further. Let's do a quick recap first on what we've already learned, and if you haven't looked at the previous video about measure, can you look at that first please, because it'll make this one clearer. Okay, what have we seen so far? We've talked about centimetres and we know that there are 100 centimetres in 1 metre. So remember that 1 centimetre is like the tip of your pinky finger. So here is my ruler, and you can see here that this says 1 centimetre. If I put my pinky finger there, that's about 1 centimetre wide, okay? Now we said that a metre is one big step, which is the same size as a measuring stick, a metre stick, or we used this yesterday the measuring tape yesterday to go all the way up to 100 centimetres, which you can just see coming in now. Now it's hard to see that one there, but that's 100 centimetres. That's a big step, okay? So hopefully we've remembered that. Now we're going to introduce some new units of measurements today, but they're all related. They're all part of the same big family. So let's have a look at these now. We're introducing the millimetre and the kilometre today. So we've already looked at the centimetre and we've already looked at the metre, and we're happy with them, I hope. I'm introducing now the millimetre and the kilometre, and you can see I've written over here that they are getting bigger. So the millimetre is the smallest thing, the kilometre is the largest thing. So how big are these units of measurements compared to centimetres and metres? Well, a millimetre is about the same size as the tip of a pencil. So if we look carefully at a ruler, you can see that this goes up from 0 to 1 centimetre to 2 centimetres to 3 centimetres. But there are a whole lot of little marks in between 0 and 1. And each one of them is a millimetre. Now, if we look at the tip of a pencil, or in this case I'm going to show you a pen. So there's my ruler. Here is my pen, and you can see that the tip of my pen is about the same size as 1 millimetre. Okay, so a millimetre is very small, and there are 10 of them in 1 centimetre. We already know that a centimetre is the size of the end of your finger. We know that a metre is one big step. A kilometre is 1,000 big steps. How long would that be? That would be if we were to go out onto the Mearns pitch and walk around the football pitch 3 times. That would be about 1,000 big steps, or 1 kilometre. So 1 kilometre is a pretty long way. So let's think about this again. We've said that there are 100 centimetres in 1 metre. I've just said that it's 1,000 big steps to walk a kilometre. So 100 centimetres in a metre, 1,000 metres in a kilometre. And let's go all the way back down to the bottom. We know that there are, let's remember again, let's just remind ourselves. Here's the ruler, here's the pen, that's the wrong side of the pen. Here's the pen, there are 10 pen lids, or pen tips, in a centimetre. So there are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre, 100 centimetres in 1 metre, and 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. That's quite confusing. Let's have a look at it a little closer. There are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre, 100 centimetres in 1 metre, and 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. So let's think about this, okay? Let's just cover these up just now so that we're not getting distracted. Okay, here's my ruler, there's my centimetres, and we know there are 10 in every one, and there's 15 centimetres, and a metre stick would be a whole lot of these together, 100 centimetres together, and then there would be 1,000 steps. So what we need to think about sometimes is how we're going to measure things. So we talked in yesterday's video the fact that you might measure the length of an iPad in centimetres. You might measure the length of a table or a room in your house in metres. You might measure then the distance of It could be your finger. You might measure the width of that in millimetres if you wanted to, or very small things you would measure in millimetres. In kilometres, you might measure a distance, a long distance. So it could be the travel distance from Glasgow to Edinburgh, or it could be just from Newton Mearns into Glasgow. It could be anything like that, but they're much bigger distances, so we would measure them in kilometres. The reason that we would measure them in kilometres is because if there are 10 kilometres in a journey, then if we were to actually measure that in centimetres, it would be a huge number. Let's think about converting now. So we've said, I've written down here, 3 centimetres would be 10 millimetres plus 10 millimetres plus 10 millimetres, which would be 1 centimetre, 1 centimetre, 1 centimetre, and that would be 30 millimetres. Let's have again a look at the ruler. So we've got 1, 2, 3 centimetres, and there are 10 little millimetres in every single centimetre, so that would be 30 millimetres. So 1 centimetre is 10 millimetres, another centimetre would be 20 millimetres, and another centimetre would be 30 millimetres. So 3 centimetres is the same as 30 millimetres. Let's think now about metres. 3 metres, well, we know that there are 100 centimetres in every metre. So 3 metres would be 100 centimetres plus 100 centimetres plus 100 centimetres, which is 300 centimetres. Now if we talk about kilometres. 3 kilometres, well, we know there are 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. So 3 kilometres would be 1 kilometre, which is 1,000 metres, another 1,000 metres, and another 1,000 metres. So that would make that 3,000 metres is the same as 1 kilometre. But if we look at my pen here, and I've got it right nicely against the 0 in my ruler, it doesn't go exactly to a centimetre, so it's not an exact centimetre. So I couldn't say this was exactly, it's somewhere between 13 and 14 centimetres long, my pen. So I wonder how we're going to try and figure that out, because it's either going to be 13 centimetres would be 130 millimetres, 14 centimetres would be 140 millimetres, but it's somewhere in between. Let's see if we can figure that out. So, this pencil that I've got here, let's measure it because I already have. That is 67 millimetres long. Now, how do we write this in centimetres? Well, like we did in the last page, 60 millimetres is the same as saying 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. 6 lots of 10 is 60 millimetres. And we know that every 10 millimetres is 1 centimetre. So it's 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 4 centimetres, 5 centimetres, 6 centimetres. So 60 millimetres would be 6 centimetres. But hang on, it's 67 millimetres. So how do we add on the last 7 millimetres? Well, we can just write it very easily like this. 6 centimetres and 7 millimetres. Or, if we want to be fancy, we can write it as a decimal. And we write a decimal by saying 6.7 centimetres, because that means it's between 6 and 7 centimetres in total. In this case, it would be 6.7. If it was 64 millimetres long, 64 millimetres would be the same as saying 6.4 centimetres. 69 millimetres would be the same as saying 6.9 centimetres. So 67 millimetres is 6 centimetres and 7 millimetres, or 6.7 centimetres. 83 millimetres would be 8 centimetres and 3 millimetres, or 8.3 centimetres. 127 millimetres would be 12 centimetres, because it's 12 lots of 10 and 7 millimetres more, or 12.7 centimetres. The same works for metres. So we remember that 1 metre is 100 centimetres, so 150 centimetres is more than 1 metre, and 50 is halfway between 1 and 200, so that would be 1.5 metres, or 1.5. So if we had something that was 250 centimetres, that would be 2.5 metres, or 2 metres 50 centimetres, or you could say 2.5 metres. Let's do one more. Let's say we've got 316 centimetres. That's the same as saying 3 metres 16 centimetres, or 3.16 metres. This is getting a little bit tricky now, okay? If you're struggling with this, don't worry, we're going to do a lot more practice in this type of thing going forward. But I would like you today to be able to take away from this, if nothing else, remember this slide, that millimetres are the smallest, then it's centimetres, then it's metres, then it's going up to kilometres, and we get progressively bigger. Try and remember, if you want to use something different to remember these, that's fine, that a millimetre is the tip of a pencil, a centimetre is the end of your finger, a metre is a big step, and a kilometre is walking 3 times round our pitch. And if you can, try and remember this as well. 10 centimetres and 1 centimetre, 10 millimetres, sorry, in 1 centimetre, 100 centimetres in 1 metre, 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. And try and remember, if you can again, some of these conversions, because these are going to be useful for you going forward. Okay folks, there are some tasks for you to try now on the Google Classroom. I hope this has made sense. I'm available to answer questions obviously. Good luck with it, and I'll talk to you soon.